Well, I was thinking, yeah, well, I mean, today's the 20th year 2000. I was thinking we might start, go back, when y'all came over from the hills.
Okay, well.
Start, how old were you, what year, and all that kind of fun thing.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see, now, where were y'all from in the hills? What city?
Houston, Mississippi.
Houston?
Yeah,
Where is that?
County.
Okay, and that's where? Near? I mean, I know of it, I just can't place it.
Between Columbus and West Point.
Oh, all right, now I know. Bryan Foods.
Well, matter of fact, it's on Highway 8.
Okay.
Highway 8 and 15.
All right, so you're pretty close over to the Alabama border then.
Yeah, well, not too far from the border of Alabama.
Okay.
Well, anyway, it's on number 8 highway. Number 8 highway goes through Houston, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, so when did y'all move over?
Oh, we moved over in 1939, fall of 1939.
Okay.
Yeah, fall of 1939 we moved here.
Okay, you were just a little boy at that time.
I was only 11 years old.
Okay.
And I was moved over by Mr. Smith and him. They sent a truck and driving over to Mississippi Delta.
Okay.
Fall of 1939.
That had to be a change coming from the hills to this kind of flat.
Yeah, well, it was. We weren't used to the flat lane. We was only used to the hill land.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, we moved in the first. We were supposed to move to Simon over near a place they call Josephine. But they didn't have a house available.
Okay.
So we had to move down on Armstrong.
And that's where
That's down near Cleveland on Highway 61.
All right, that's where the power plant was built.
That's where the power plant.
Okay.
And they asked us later that we wanted back to Josephine, which was further from the highway and everything. We refused to go. We said, no, we'd rather stay here. They left us with a choice. We had a choice to either stay there or move over with Simon.
Okay.
And we stayed. We'd rather stay. Well, matter of fact, we lived there for a number of years. From 39 up till, I think we were something like the last family that moved off that place.
Mm.
From 39 to 50, I think they sold the place somewhere around 50 to the Mississippi Power Line Company, part of the place. And most of the family moved off. There was 3 of us, 3 families left, or 4 families left. That was my father, my brother, and myself,
Okay.
my wife and myself.
How many of y'all were there when you came over from the hills?
Oh, we had about 5 children and my mother and father.
Okay.
And during that period of time, that was in the year of 1950, must have been 1948, we went back to the hill and moved another family over, who was kin to us, my uncle, from Baltimore, Mississippi.
Okay.
And they was Mills. And they also moved down on the place, the Armstrong place.
All right, so all y'all were out there together?
Yeah, we all lived there together. They farmed there for a number of years too until the place was sold.
I think you were telling me that y'all had, you moved everything over from the hills. I mean, you had the hogs, chickens.
Well, we brought the hogs and chicken, a post of hogs and chicken out. In the hills, we shipped milk and did a few other little things. The last year we was in the hill, we only made 1 bale of cotton, so cotton farming was very scarce in the hills.
Oh, sure.
You did other things, living both. The first year we came to Delta, we made, 15 to 20 bales of cotton. And we weren't used to making that much cotton. But we learned one thing in the Mississippi Delta. Most people didn't do anything but make cotton. They didn't raise the truck patches. They didn't do other things. And we learned one thing. What the problem was in Mississippi Delta for a lot of the small farmers, because they didn't raise their own food.
Right.
And we moved here. They allowed us a place to plant all the truck patches we wanted, potatoes and garden. And had our milk cow. I never had steak the milk cow before. And I never saw one hooked to a chain before until I moved to Delta. See, in the hills, we had pastures.
Oh, yeah.
Down here, we stake them outside the road. And that was unusual for us, but we learned to get along with it. And all that happened within a few years. We learned how to live in the Mississippi Delta.
Did y'all, were the mosquitoes quite as bad?
Well, no. The mosquitoes came in much later. And you might would say the mosquitoes come in sometime during the early 50s when some of the people from the New Orleans come up and started raising rice fields and whatnot. There was a few mosquitoes, but not many.
Okay, not like it is now.
Not like it is now. See?
Okay.
And, the flies was one thing that was pretty bad in the Mississippi Delta during the hot season here.
Sure.
The flies was usually bad, but they give a scream and they sprayed during that time. but survival in the South, I mean, in Mississippi Delta was pretty good, and plenty of public work. When you got through farming your own cotton and whatnot, you always go out and work for somebody else. And so many times we went from plantation to plantation when we caught up chopping or whatever season it might be. If it was chopping season, they'd always send the company truck out and carry it to another one of the big farms, and was able to chop cotton or whatever. Okay. And that's the way we had making money on the side.
Now, you told me, define public work again. You said that was really when you went into town and worked at one of the stores or something?
Well, the only public work you mostly had then was going to town for maybe doing somebody's yard or working in truck patches and stuff like that.
Okay, that's what you.
And the first public work we was able to do, my brother and I, it was that our family, we always went out and worked pretty hard and got through chopping early. And well, now one fall we laid by early. My brother and I was fortunate enough to get out and get a chance to bale some hay. And when the rest of the families caught up a little bit, and they kind of let us go. Because they tried to share as much of the work as they could with the head of the family. And since we wasn't the head of our family, then they told us we'd have to kind of take off a little bit and share the work with everybody else. Baling hay was hard work.
Yeah.
And it was hot, and it didn't bother us too much. Then we was able to kind of slip to town and get a little jobs and help out.
Okay.
But farming was, it was just tough for everybody back in that day and time. Farming was the only thing we knew anything about.
Sure.
It wasn't, Merigold was one of the, well, I guess it's one of the most active towns it was in the Mississippi Delta.
Well, and I think you were telling me the other day that Merigold and Cleveland, really, it should have been the other way around.
Yeah, well, Merigold had been, they said it was more money spent in Merigold. And more farmers, more money was spent in the town. I mean, the bank at Merigold, it wasn't the bank in Cleveland, more or less, because of the big farmers. Right. And for miles from Merigold, but all that land was controlled south, east, or west. Was controlled by farmers in Merigold.
And that's why y'all came over, was my grandfather?
Yeah, your grandfather was one of those that, and aunties and whatnot, your family was one that owned a lot of that land. And they were the one that moved us from the hills.
Okay. How did y'all end up meeting, or how did that decision come about?
I had an uncle that lived in the hills, and he came down here and worked down here for several years. And
gotcha. And
he come back to a singing convention several times, and my mother, which was my mother's brother, and he was telling us about a place just west of Merigold here. We call it Plenty Hell, but it was, I think it was called Sandy Hall or something like that. But anyway, that's how we got in church of knowing about this place, and we decided we want to come down here and see what farming is about.
To a place called Plenty Hell.
Yeah.
You got to see that for yourself, right?
I got to see it for myself. It was a good place. I think Mr. Cox, who I might have known was the agent at that time, was in charge of that place. Now, the place we lived on, Mr. Dan Smith was the agent when we first moved to the Delta.
Okay.
And then later, Mr. Molden, which was agent some years later. And there they went down through the line. There was several of them that I know. And they was agent. They the one that you'd have to see. And then your granddaddy was the head boss. Okay. And he the one to take care of all the things.
You told me that you slept on your bale of cotton.
Well, that was one way you had to sleep, because if you got up here, you'd have to get up here early, because if you didn't get here early, you never would get you in at all. And at that time, we hauled it with mule and wagon.
Okay. So you'd haul it up here late in the afternoon or night, and then just spend the night
Spend the night. See, I always felt that was a good way to, I always feel like that was a good way for my wife to help my wife in being able to do the work. You know, my wife and I, we'd always pick 2 bales a week. That was more. That was something kind of out of ordinary. Most people wouldn't be able to pick that much. And we'd always pick 2 bales a week, and then on Saturdays, pick out, or we'd have the day off. Because there was something strange happened, and I got started doing a little public work there, and I got away from it a little bit, and they kind of got on me about it several times there. I was able to I would hire some of the workers off the place on Saturdays to kind of make up for my loss.
Gotcha.
And what I'd have to do, I'd have to pay them just a little bit more than they was paying on the place or whoever else was playing.
Sure.
And they'd always come to you and say you have to use the strategy on being able to get labor.
Right.
If you paid them a little bit more per 100, they'd always come to you.
Yeah.
And I see my brother's coming up here that
Oh, okay.
him and I both was, and he know a little bit more about the Smith and Wiggin plantation. That's what it was called at that time.
I just
Smith
remember.
and Wiggins.
I remember Dad telling me about Mr. Wiggins killing himself. You know, because because the price of cotton fell to a nickel a pound. Hello.
Hello,
How are you? Doing good, doing good. I'm Jamie Smith.
Joe Hill.
Hey, nice to
Glad
meet you,
to meet
Mr.
you,
Hill.
sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I tell you, the hills just keep coming out of the woodwork. Y'all just it. All right, we're back on.
We moved here. I'm sure John has shared this with you. In '39, it was very small at that time. We moved. They call it the dead end down on the low end. The low end of Smith and Wiggin. I mean, yeah. We farmed there for a number of years. Matter of fact, where the generator plant is now is the exact spot where our home was at that time. We had to move the house so they could put that plant up.
Oh, wow. Did y'all just move a little ways, or did you?
We moved over to where the fence is. The fence that was a house. As a matter of fact, there were 3 homes there.
Now, see, when I was a little kid, I remember the house.
That's right.
The levee was right behind.
That's
the
right.
living.
That's
Okay.
right.
And I said, I'm gonna ride on a tractor in that land right there.
So John and I and my father was the 3 last homes.
The last family that lived there
Okay.
after the plant was built.
Yeah. So we stayed there for a number of years. After that, matter of fact, into the 50s. But we've had some good experiences from living there. You know. And your father and I, actually, we worked in the field together. During he got out of school, he and I would work when they baling hay, picking it up, putting it on the truck.
That's hard.
He and I worked together. And
That explains why his hands are always stronger than mine.
And the grandfather would tell him he wanted them to learn from the experience of the field, because if he ever became the owner, he wanted them to know plenty about home and what he was going to do. So he worked out there.
Merigold used to have a lot of work because you had to buy your coal, get your coal from here, your wood from here. The trailer, they bring car boxes in. And sometimes this time of year, these cold days, they'd have folks up throwing wood off the car box.
Yeah, I watched him on them car boxes during that time.
Unloading coal.
I really did. Used to come up with a wagon and get a load of coal off the car box when they come in. We'd have to haul it out on the plantation during the winter. We had to put our coal in when they ordered for the winter time. We'd have it out there stacked on the ground by the houses during the winter time. We'd haul it from right here off the railroad tracks.
Y'all had coal fireplace?
Yeah, fireplace and little old heaters, things like
coal
that.
heaters.
Yeah.
And I've never seen one before.
Wait, well, they work real good.
That's right. And I've been knowing him since I was young, you know, and he finally said to us one day, "What are you boys not to do?" I didn't think he had sitting there doing nothing to his cotton. Mr. Brandon, Mr. Rainey. All I ever know to do is to haul cotton in town. You know, we used to bring cotton to the gin. When y'all learn this kind of, I said, well, we learned, as a matter of fact, we worked for quite a few lumber companies around it over the years. I could name a bunch of them. We worked for Now Lumber Company, we worked for Fleming, we worked for M.L. Good, we worked for Scott Lumber Company, we worked for...
We did a lot of that.
Barlow
We
Lumber
was living on your granddaddy's place.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, we was a family that they let us, now a lot of people they did before going off the place to work.
Right.
But we knew how to return. When work time come,
Yeah.
they didn't have any problem with us coming back. They said, well, it's time to plow, it's time to pick. They give us that option. Now, a lot of folks on the place, they couldn't give it to us.
Because we would lay by like the last of July, the 1st of August, people get through with working the crop and they wait for it to open.
Right.
So we could go out and work during those weeks and months during that time until cotton opened up. And,
again, that's just because of the work ethic y'all had.
yeah.
Right. Mr. Moulton always tell us, he tell my daddy was named Benton Hill. He said, well, Benton Hill said, when your boys kind of catch up, your sons catch up, they can find a little job in town. So I know things are tough. You got to make a living for them. He said, they found a little job in town, they could do a little odd-man job, they could go in and work. But when work time comes, something on the farm had to be done. Now, I remember one morning I had a little job. I was making a little bit more than I was on the farm. And I came out, I stepped out the door going to Cleveland, and Mr. Bowler came by. And he called. He said, come on down to the barn. I got some work for you to do. It kind of hurt my feelings in a way, but I couldn't turn him down because that's where I live. And I went on down and worked, and my pay was about half that week what I'd been making in town, because, you know, they was able to pay a little more in town. But I had to work. They worked me 2 or 3 weeks, and after that 2 or 3 weeks, they didn't catch me no more soon.
Yeah.
So there was quite a bit of story that went on about down there, but like I said, we hauled cotton, and we finally moved up a little bit after we moved to Delta, and we started renting. When you said renting, you was able to get a pair of mules, your own mules, and that gives you, made a little bit more out of your crop. You held your own mules. You didn't have to go to the big barn to get your mules. You only had your mules at home. And we moved up in that, and finally moved up in that category, that where we had our own mules. And then we finally got, before we left the place, 2 years later, my dad and I, we was able to get a tractor, and we used it for farming.
I remember when he bought his first car, I think it was in 45, I think he was in 70, he had come.
Yeah.
He bought a nice car, cotton that year, I don't know how many bales of cotton we did make, that was in 47, 48, some 46, something along that. Well, the first car he bought was an Oldsmobile.
Well, he had owned some cars before then, but that was the first nice car.
Yeah, that's the
Because
first
when we
really
left the
nice.
hills, we had a car when we left the hills, but that was in 30-something. But this
Cheap model
was-
then.
Yeah, right, yeah.
You probably read that in history.
That's right. That's right.
But he bought an Oldsmobile, 41, boy, it was quite a car. It was quite a car. I tell you, the way he was able to
You
get
able
over,
to see him over there?
Oh, yeah, I'm just making sure the battery.
the way we were able to get it, and he wanted a car, made good money that year, cleared some money, and he went to hunting that day, and he went to Clarksdale, and there was a young man who was a salesman for cotton. He bought and sold cotton. He went in service, and his wife was driving the car and had a wreck in it. It scared him, so he called and told her to sell the car because he didn't want nobody to get it. He did. And my father was able to buy that car. And man, it was quite a car back. Cars were like, ooh, it was something else then.
Oh, yeah.
To own a car, we were probably the only person on the place bought one, or wasn't over 2 on the place that there was at that time.
Yeah, it was really nice.
That would be a rarity.
Yeah, and you made good money, and had a good life. My family was blessed.